Thank you, Ms. Kuster. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to all of you for your courage in coming forward. We appreciate it, and we understand the risk that you're taking, and just know that we're your witness. If there is anything that happens to you, please be in touch with our offices. And I would like to follow up on Dr. Ruiz's questions to Dr. Head and Dr. Mitchell. In the private sector, in the healthcare field, we have a process of quality assurance that sounds like maybe what you're doing in your root cause analysis, but to get at the issues that impact patient safety and the safety of veterans, but also some of the staffing issues, Dr. Mitchell, that you raised in your testimony. Is there any type of process within the VA for sharing best practices or for determining what are effective mechanisms? The types of problems that you're describing, we perhaps are fortunate not to have. I've toured our VA facilities in Manchester, New Hampshire, and White River Junction, Vermont, and found very high levels of competence and access and quality of care. So I'm wondering, what is the practice of sharing best practices, and how would you go about improving upon that?
Well, in 2012, November of 2012, I noticed a spike, increased number of veterans who were presenting with advanced cancer. And once I did a little research, I found they were in the system, but for whatever reason, they weren't either receiving a screen, like a colonoscopy, or there wasn't really follow-up. And that troubled me. So I sent the email to the director around 1:30 in the morning saying that we should follow the practices that are well established in the community and the standard of care within the National Institute of Health. And it's around 50 pages. There are flow diagrams, standard operating procedures, to kind of make it basically idiot-proof that when you have certain patients that come in, that you have guidelines of when the patient should be screened, when they should receive treatment, that if they have cancer, they need to be presented in a multidisciplinary team so we can expedite therapy, because most therapy is multimodality of either chemotherapy, radiation therapy, surgery if possible. For whatever reason, this was not happening in the number of patients that I saw. And so I encourage us to adopt some of those things. But
did you have any success with that?
Well, I had some success, but I think one veteran who's in the system who doesn't receive the screenings necessary is too many, in my opinion. And so I thought that we should have more. Those type of ideas should always be flowing within the VA to have procedures so we don't miss the veterans. No veteran should be left behind.
And is there any process for quality improvement? Is there any, do you have any procedures or protocols within the VA system that you could bring forward these types of standards and procedures?
That's what I'd like to do, but
Currently,
I can't say I've been able
not
to do it because of the other activities I've had to be involved in. But
Dr. Mitchell, have you had any experience with that?
Yeah, there is a whole quality assurance division in our VA, and certainly I was on an email group for ER physicians, the directors, and we shared ideas. The problem is what we need is a best practice of how to overcome bad management, because we all knew we were all suffering from short staffing. We were all suffering from other issues, problems with nurse triage, other things. We just couldn't get anyone in our facility to listen to us that had the power to make the change.
And with the short staffing, were you told that that was a fiscal issue, that you couldn't hire people, or is it an issue, excuse me, of timing that in terms of getting professionals credentialed?
The reason varies depending on the week. It can be because we're short, there's a hiring freeze. It can be there aren't enough good applicants, which is often the case. A lot of times they're fantastic applicants, but the process of credentialing them takes 8 or 9 months, in which case they've already found another job.
Right. And just briefly, and I have very little time left, but I just want to say, Dr. Head, having reviewed your testimony and the various lawsuits, and I'm extremely concerned about the issue of racial bias in your record, and I just want to commend you on your courage and your professionalism, and admire the strength that it takes for you to just get up and go to work every single day. So thank you for coming here today. I appreciate it.
That's quite a compliment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Dr. Benishek, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to